Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Welcome to all of you. Of course, have a very, very good day for analysis. Of course, in there are a series of Champions League games. Of course, all over Europe, the continent of Europe, games, and then of course the FifPro 11 out 6 Real Madrid players and he votes you in as in there as the new FifPro 11. What are your surprises of the FifPro 11? Obviously, also, Chelsea coach Enzo Maresca. There is something with him that makes him special. We'll talk about it over here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. So I want to subscribe to the channel. I'm sure subscribe to the channel and turn on notification. A very, very imperative. Pass over there. And also want to subscribe to the channel. No turn on notification over there. Now, see. So who share Arsenal last season, 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, when Arsenal were coming. In fact, the times where Arsenal were very close to possibly winning the English Premier League. Arsenal was the fact that Arsenal could not manage the pressure and then the injuries at Arsenal. Now, make us consistently. Some important players, William Saliba prior, there was no replacement for William Saliba. He had to be out of the team. It's because Arsenal were very resolute in defense. Defense was so important to them at the time. And when William Saliba prior, and a lot of us did analyze that the injury of William Saliba did affect the team by a very large extent. Again, before that, one of the things that was worrying Arsenal before then was the pressure. When the media kept on telling them, say, League, good enough, they can beat Manchester City. Pep apprentice, Mikel Arteta, Pep apprentice, Pep and Sam, any Saniman. It seemed to have affected Arsenal team. And I've heard an interview where Declan Rice comes out to accept said, Sa interview, Sa it affected them to a little bit. And in fact, this season, so what Declan Rice or say they are not going to look at the table as it stands now because it's a long way to go. Unless somewhere in April, March, February, or baby, before they begin to look at the table and say, okay, fine, we may get something out of it. We are close to it. Any signing, they do have a discussion around it, which is very important in there. Now, I'm saying this and I'm asking this question that it looks as if say Chelsea have the perfect antidote for those possible things that would dismay them, that would, sway the attention from focusing on winning it. Now, in the last few days, there has been an interview where a young Italian journalist, Enzo Maresca, and in common, and say, journalist has realized, say, every time be Italians, Chelsea, they are very successful in it. And in fact, so Gianluca Vialli was a player coach at some point in time, very successful in the history of Chelsea. There was a coach called Roberto Di Matteo, who is Italian, already Chelsea first Champions League. There is Carlo Ancelotti, one of the meanest defenses in the history of the English Premier League, were Italian. There is Antonio Conte, also won the English Premier League in his first season, or Italian. There is Maurizio Sarri, who won the Europa League in a very, very difficult situation for Chelsea. Last season, played very, very well, also Italian. In fact, in the last few weeks or so, Maurizio Sarri has done an interview. Okay, time of free Chelsea to go back to the club in Italy. It was a wrong one. And he felt homesick. So go back to Italy. He just felt that he had to go back to Italy and go back to Italy just to go and work there. And he believes so he should have stayed on. Now Maurizio Sarri was asked about Abrante's friend Enzo Maresca, and he did mention so Enzo Maresca seems to be a very good coach. Now, or a young, he has what it takes to be a huge, a better, very important coach of Chelsea. Into more focused and get a job done. Now you look away from that, and Saubeka in preseason, Chelsea share Real Madrid in a preseason game. It was Enzo Maresca versus the former coach. Now, said Enzo Maresca was coached by Carlo Ancelotti in Italy before Stoke City and then going on to go and play at Sevilla. He has ounces of experience from Carlo Ancelotti. According to Enzo Maresca, in San Comodini, Carlo Ancelotti catcher and said, any Italian to have the line so high. Into on dropping the line, not dropping the line, he's going to have a very, very good season and then he will play well. I say he didn't at the time, he didn't even have the intentions of about with a high line. He was trying a lot of things in preseason just so he will understand how his team wants to play. It looks as if the Chelsea managers, only Italians, tend to have very successful stints at Chelsea, and it's a very good omen. Again, away from that, we will have the conversation of the fact that the premise of the Arsenal issue, the Arsenal situation of one, the fact that not all players struggle with dealing with the pressure from the media, and then two, also the fact that they had issues of injury, and then the squad, the fact that they didn't have the squad in them to deal with it, so was worried. In Pempe, so Chelsea team has ordered to Arsenal team from the eye test. Chelsea seem to be playing well and better, more control than Arsenal team. And the last time I was explaining the 3-3-4 Enzo Maresca plays, something that everything that Torreira Mospe wanted to do on the ball, off the ball against Chelsea, Chelsea had something to it. Now, one thing that Chelsea essentially did was to use Abrantia, your friend Robert Sanchez, as the +1 consistently into the Chelsea team now. Say Chelsea builder from Echiria. Now say more men in terms of increasing the numerical superiority. Makane several times say in build-up, Adia Bako is very important numerical superiority. Opesa we need more players than opponent in build-up. And it's also same in the press. The press, you may not have the numerical superiority, but you also want to use your angles and body position and as a body orientation to block passing lanes. So obi pass a crime. Now ultimately pass a mass important player moment progress and you're also important when you are doing the press. But in build up, we have numerical superiority because we have options to pass. Again, when you look slightly away from that, then we have a conversation away from the fact that in a game against Orient, Chelsea were very excellent in that regard, getting a +1. Now the +1 can be had with a goalkeeper like Chelsea did at certain parts against Orient Mosbe. There were also times where Chelsea had a +1, which are going to your friend Enzo Fernandez. In fact, there were times where Chelsea had a +2. When I say a +2, I mean that numerical superiority. So talking about the 4 players in the press, Chelsea in your +2, I say we have 2 options to pass the ball to, 2 free options to pass the ball to. And then there are times where Chelsea had a +1 over there. And Tottenham almost every time either way in the -1 or -2 in terms of the build-up play over there. And that's really helped Chelsea in carrying the ball forward, playing the ball forward, transiting with the ball, having loads of numbers in different areas, dominating the ball, playing out from the back. It was so important in everything that they wanted to do. Very, very important in that regard. And I think that tactically, Enzo Maresca is there. And see, some things that Nipa Bebre encounter is the fact that say, watch Enzo Maresca. He dropped Enzo Fernandez. Play of no World Cup. No, you're an important player for the Argentine national team. Oba Chelsea, Enzo Maresca needed something else. Dropped him for a couple of games. And also, and yet dropping in the backlash that could have come with and how Enzo couldn't have taken it right, managed that situation brilliantly well. Then he brought him back to the extent that may catch you in the last few analysis and now say almost every time you watch Enzo Fernandez, you would understand that the off the ball job and as the defensive contribution improving without the ball improving, say your team cover ground improving, the way of going to tackles improving, the way I saw the ball mobile cover ground and by a chin the in fact the positional awareness is so important on and off the ball, and it's something that Enzo Fernandez has really improved in. To the extent that he is adding goals and assists, and now the number of goals Enzo Fernandez has scored at Chelsea in this season alone, in the number of starts, which is 10, it's more than he did manage throughout last season, all throughout the season of boy last season. So it tells you that really there is a player in there, and Enzo Maresca has brought that in a young man. I also think that the fact that Enzo Maresca plays Abranche Fenikopa and Enzo Fernandez together helps both players and helps the team in general. My key example, look at the picture on your screen. At the early opening of the game, Tony and Fone are trying to play off on the back. They are trying to press Kupama man for man. So Kupama kind of post-match press conference. Enzo Maresca kind of post-match press conference. Use Bisuma Juma, Tori and for the man, and Ange Postecoglu the man. They say, "Oh man, be pressing Kupama man for man. I'm pressing man to man. I'm jam." And because of that, because there was always Enzo Fernandez free in the left-hand space, and I say the left-hand side channel, consistently say yes Bisuma ese on Enzo Fernandez or Obejira Kupama, so there is space for Enzo Fernandez to influence the game. In the first half, Chelsea created the most openings from such situations. And it really tells you how grown the team has become, how they understand how they want to play, and how everything is. So from a tactical point of view, everything seems to be going on well. In terms of depth, one of the key players to Chelsea, Abrante friend Wesley Fofana. Now, Adia Bakwan, I'm here very worried about with Chelsea, and he said, so Wesley Fofana, what is going to be the solution from Enzo Maresca in terms of finding solutions for Wesley Fofana? How are Chelsea going to get a replacement like Wesley Fofana? Because Makane several times he is an aggressor. In the centre back, you be able to actually know. No gentle sorry. The aggressor no Wesley Fofana. Now, so in the game against Tottenham Hotspur now, in there, Enzo Maresca seemed to have found the solution to that. Obebo Abrante friend Malo Gusto, in fact, in the first half, not Benoit Benachile ain't too comfortable at right centre back because when you're a natural right-footed player, you can't fault him. When he was moved to left centre back, it helped him. Now let me explain something to you. It looks as if Marco Correa is better in the left half space as a 10. So we inverting now than so be inverting Malo Gusto rather into the right half space as a 10. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. What really happened was that because now Chelsea could go on and then have Malo Gusto rather as a right centre back, the RCB. Now because now Malo is a right centre back, so now they could utilize the ball playing ability of Malo Gusto from right back. And also, Malo is a natural fullback, and so to me defend the wide areas easily. So the defending the wide areas was not going to be an issue. Now away from that, you look at the fact that you need that aggression now. Wesley Fofana debating. Can Malo Gusto provide that aggression? Where will Chelsea get that aggression from? And he seemed to be able to get that aggression for Chelsea. I was our right hand side on him. And consistently they are playing on. So tactically scored in-depth stuff like that. Enzo Maresca seems to be finding the solutions to Chelsea team. I understand. Even for me and for a lot of Chelsea fans, there is no point thinking right now say Chelsea Belgian League, dead that stuff. But really, there seem to be a lot of good omen for Chelsea. Yes, Enzo Maresca ain't an elite coach just yet, but there are makings of an elite coach who makes maybe the levels where he can win things consistent for Chelsea. And so throughout 2 seasons ago and last season, when I kept on mentioning the fact that you cannot say set on the ball in the Baghdad, I kept on mentioning that they want sustained success, and the sustained success was hinged on making huge investment, getting someone that can manage those investments, and then hope that they can dominate English football for a very long time. So we're starting winning here. The plan is for them to keep on winning our English Premier League, and of course also take Europe by storm. So any easy job, not easy for them to do, but it looks as if it's something that Enzo Maresca will make here and over there. Now the most important thing, however, away from the tactics, see, as an analyst, sometimes you overemphasize on the importance of tactics and what have you. It's important, but Makane say tactical preparations for games doesn't even go beyond 15%. It's very little, but also very important. That's the thing. The devil is in the detail. Making a difference all the time. But also, in terms of winning a championship, in terms of taking this, doing better, performing very high above capabilities of what was expected of you with targets and standing manner. One of the things that's important is the management of pressure. And listen to Enzo Maresca. Last weekend, before the Tottenham Hotspur game, Italian journalist Crona go to the pre-match press conference, ask Enzo Maresca, say, "Oh, I didn't know catching go for baby 7 title. Now me sure bit me the title. Now if you was say, now Italian and see, he just manages it so well. To the extent that the players also now answer the questions excellently. Look, listen to Levi Cole. Don't be sad Levi Cole say, at the end of the day, I'm waiting at the league. Levi say, Team Ben or person or Jele guy, you send 2 goals in the first 11 minutes. You know anything you Jumade. Yeah, Jumade. See, you drew on man. Yeah, you be catch them senior. You be in league, in terms of Jumade, you be near league, or in those regard, you be catch them. Can you imagine that? Everything well scripted, well planned. They know what they are seeing, they understand the things that they want. The coach seems to have imbibed, and it's a well working side. And Uti Enzo Maresca now in the interview after the game, all the things that he opines clearly, and he said for him, Niakani say he keeps the boys focused. Now Mama Matias said, I mean, you get a win, enjoy the win, Kofi, you go and have fun, and there's 1 more day off, have your fun. When you come back, it's about working hard again. This weekend, Chelsea against Brentford. a match at Brantia, your friend. Pedro Neto Mobi, because when you committed yellow card, it's a chance for Noni Madueke to reinvent himself again. So Pedro Neto, all free match, and he was not excited. Nicolas Jackson, all free, not excited. Nicolas wanted to score. Pedro Neto wanted to score. Nkuku wanted to come on, and the competition for places is there, and it keeps the players focused. It keeps them in check to make sure that Obia and yet two. I mean, see, as a human being, there is always that element of you being complacent or relaxed when things begin to go your way, and that is what Enzo Maresca person will eschew, because if the team wants to go far, then they need to eschew things like that, and that's what Chelsea are trying to do. Where to see Media Marca say it's not until March and at Chelsea meeting say okay, now they are properly in any conversation to win anything. It will take a very, very long time before somebody to me Edison come on in terms of whether they can win something, whether they can comfortably in the top 4 or even win the conference. I think they, at the very least, Chelsea should win something this season. I said Chelsea to me winning maybe conference league or something. Chelsea really should be able to win something because the signs are good. Madrid for any good news. I brought here your friend Vinicius Junior. A travel with Madrid squad now to go to Dortmund, where you're fit, well and fit in there to travel and go to Dortmund. But just before Madrid able to Dortmund crew the list for the FifPro 11 not ever out after being voted by over thousands of journalists, sports journalists, captains, and of course coaches across the world. This is exactly how the FifPro 11 looks like. Ederson imposed from team and friend of Manchester City. There's Dani Carvajal for his exploits at the Euros. There is Antonio Rudiger that was also in there. There's the Virgil van Dijk in the list of players. There's a branch friend of Kevin De Bruyne also in there. Rodri, Cascante, a branch friend of Toni Kroos. There's Jude Bellingham, Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland, and a branch friend of Vinicius Junior. 6 Madrid players in a room. Which ones do you think should not be in there? Players being a Wunjintum said they have to be in there in terms of the players over there as the kind of players you vote on for the FifPro 11. Defenders needs to be Dani Carvajal, Antonio Rudiger, Virgil van Dijk. In the midfield, there is Kevin De Bruyne, Rodri, Kroos, and then Bellingham. Up top, there is Mbappe, Haaland, and your branch friend Vinicius Junior in the list, and there are 6 of them from Real Madrid. And Madrid team to the Dortmund to go and play against Dortmund, a huge one. They don't say it's an important one over there for them to go in and play. Madrid coaching staff are convinced say Arda Güler is the best finisher in the squad. Madrid air travel to go to Italy. It's when they're going away to go and play Atalanta Bergamo. And in the list, there's Vinicius Junior, there's Mbappe, there is Raul Asensio, there's Enrique Ramirez, there's Jude Bellingham, there's Brahim Diaz, there's Luka Modric, there's Courtois, there's Rudiger, there's Orienchi, many full house for FC Real Madrid. We know say Atlanta for Ebo in always a 1v1, man for man marking across the field of play. So the Madrid players would have to have a very good day. They need to have that numeric, either the numerical superiority to try and create some overload, something that Atlanta would want to prevent, but they need to find ways to create overload. Okay, the last time in the Super Cup, now Madrid won it by creating loads of overloads on the left hand side in attack. They need to do that same and also have the qualitative superiority also happening very well. Senegal makes me a chance at beating team my friend Atalanta on the Champions League table. Also, you say a 12 game in there. Very, very huge game for the two in terms of what they can do in terms of two teams, especially for Real Madrid if they want to go on and go and get a job. Then now we see Pau Gomez, player for Atalanta, or say Real Madrid have injuries or players who have just come back. Atalanta can hurt anyone, not only Madrid. In Spain, they don't train man-to-man over there. He's talking about the possibility of the man-to-man marking a Madrid for Atalanta for room and how it can hit Tima, your friend FC Real Madrid, and how he thinks it can work on in there for them. We are looking to see how Madrid for can deal with Sagim away from that. If you look at the table of the Champions League as it stands now, Madrid against Atalanta match. There's Liverpool, there's Inter, there's Barcelona, there's Dortmund, there's Atalanta, there's Bayern Leverkusen, there's Arsenal, there's Monaco, there's Aston Villa, Sporting CP, Brest, Lille, Bayern Munich, Benfica, Atletico de Madrid, AC Milan, Manchester City, PSV, Juventus, Atlet, Celtic, Feyenoord, Club Brugge, any team, my friend, Dynamo Zagreb, and of course Real Madrid. Madrid needs points in there. They need some 3 points so that you can jump them up top. And Atlanta for them, and the last time we share in Madrid for them were successful when they played against team your friend Atalanta, and of course they have very good players back in. And I mean, much now you better the pre-match analysis not proper for you. I see on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Other games, there is Dynamo Zagreb versus Celtic or there is Girona versus Liverpool, there is Atalanta, Real Madrid, Bayer Leverkusen versus Inter, Brest versus PSV, Club Brugge versus Sporting CP, RB Leipzig versus Aston Villa, Salzburg versus Paris Saint-Germain, Shakhtar Donetsk versus team my friend FC Bayern Munich. Also there for one of our Champions League game, and tomorrow we'll see how that goes on in there. We'll talk about all of those details inside details. And of course there's updates from the camp of FC Barcelona. Also Wednesday, huge Champions League games that's going to come up. Our Champions League games in what Barca has to do, what they have to do in terms of winning games, coming back to winning ways. One more game against Dortmund. I mentioned it over Lamine Yamal over there on his Instagram. A 6-month spell has made people forget how ridiculously colossal Abrante Ronald Araujo was 2 seasons ago for Tima, your friend FC Barcelona over there. Wait to see if it's going to feature inside game against Team, my friend Dortmund. 1 hour ago, what's your popular opinion about Barcelona this season over there? Of course, Barca for now pushing in to get their players. Ronaldo Nazário, compares Tavao Willian to Abrantia, your friend Lamine Yamal, Rochina Francois Letizia in the Benjamin Fiifi on Wednesday. Sorry, to be the referee for that game between Barcelona and a team, my friend Dortmund. Entina anymore, Barca anymore, Mundo anymore, macho. Terapia para Dortmund. Terapia para Dortmund. Kun Flick all 100% with Flick 100% over there. Wait to see how that game's will pan out. Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Tomorrow morning we'll bring you more in terms of the details of the game, what's going to come on. Rafi said the channel, the betting coach will be on for Champions League Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Europa League and Conference League. I mean, last week we won the Europa League. I'm just very certain that very less this week. Now from Yamian Mochinako, Thursday we'll be winning. So then, take care. Bye bye.